Alright guys, school is in session because by the time this video launches at some point between my binge sessions of Population 1, there are likely already a lot of videos from different creators talking about the recent news of the Oculus Quest 2 successfully rooted. While this is absolutely fantastic news and possible freedom from the Facebook requirement, there is also a lot of misinformation or lack of information on what this means for you and your Oculus Quest 2, and I do have a fear that the hype machine is going to lead to many people rooting their Oculus Quest without fully knowing what can happen, and I think the amount of people who should actually be rooting immediately is very small compared to likely how many will try it. You do you, everything here, just some facts of what rooting is and some opinions I have on it. I have no interest in convincing you of anything. Root away. You should own your own hardware, but I would advise to watch this before you make your decision to root or not if it goes live, because there are some major things you need to be aware of, and I hope this video may be of help to anyone. I haven't seen this info stated anywhere else. Also, a huge shout out to those who spoke with me in DM so I could get as much info as possible to discuss this topic properly. Last disclaimer, this is an impossible video to edit with baby prepping owning my life, so enjoy some Pavlov gameplay mixed with light edits. Really hope to see you in Pavlov, play me anytime, and I hope you enjoy this video. So the announcement came from ReadyHacker1 that had this summarized announcement. A researcher from the XR community has gained root access to the Oculus Quest 2 and is able to bypass the Facebook login. The root has been validated by XRSI's researchers, and they are working on ways to protect the founders of the root. And this announcement, of course, was subsequently, everywhere on the internet. To get terminology right, jailbreaking and rooting, while similar, are not the same thing. Jailbreaking is the process of removing the limitations put in place by a device's manufacturer, and jailbreaking is generally performed on Apple iOS devices like the iPhone, iPad. Jailbreaking removes the restrictions Apple puts in place, allowing you to install third-party software from outside the App Store. Rooting, though, is the process of gaining root access to a device. This is generally performed on Android devices, but rooting can also occur on other devices based on Linux. Now, the root user is essentially the same as the administrator user on Windows. After rooting, you can grant specific applications access to root permissions, allowing them to do almost anything that you want. Generally, you'd get full root access, basically full control, then install a new or modified operating system, and the new system can basically do anything the hardware is physically capable of while removing any imposed restrictions. So in theory, you could perform extra super sampling or natively connect to SideQuest and install apps. For you, it will basically allow you, the user, to have complete control over your operating system. You would have full access to the device, so there wouldn't be anything you couldn't do on it short of hardware limitations. You can mess with GPU, CPU, change the Oculus Home launcher completely, and a lot more. And of course, you could easily bypass the Facebook requirement. For developers, there are a lot more use cases which could enable devs to find some tricks that could be done, as well as to do things they couldn't otherwise do without having the headset unlocked, such as taking over the home environment, tweaking settings for games to run better, etc. More or less, for both the user and developers, you get full control, but use cases will go only as far as people are willing to take this. Overall, while not as tangible to exactly what you're getting right away, the immediate benefits, the reason a root is just absolutely so important to so many people, and I really do think they are correct. It's all about the right to own your products and hardware, the right to use it as you want, the right to repair, the right to privacy, the right to an open and fair ecosystem, and more. It's a way, if adopted by many, to take back the rights of product ownership and curb what Facebook is trying to do. That, I believe, is why this root is so important to so many people, and I am all aboard for that. We deserve to own our hardware. But here is the main reason I wanted to make this video. If you just think about it that way that I just described, and combine this with the hype of every single person on the internet trying to put the pointy end of the stick up Facebook's rear, you may make the impulse decision to attempt to root, when in reality, at least for the immediate time being, if this root goes live, this is probably not something most should do right away if legit, and wait to see how things play out for numerous reasons which you probably wish I'd get on with, right? To start, it needs to be clear that rooting your headset is opening Pandora's box. Once you root it, there's absolutely no coming back. I'm not saying rooting it will mean immediate problems, I'm just saying there's no turning back, and this is not something I hear anyone mentioning. Although to be honest, there is likely one immediate issue of you being permanently disconnected from the Oculus servers, and with that you lose access to the Oculus Store. At that point, until the root is worked on with more use cases, you'll be stuck getting new games probably only on SideQuest for a period of time. While there are legal precedents set that Facebook cannot brick your device for rooting it, there is no way to truly stop them from banning your account if identified and you losing access to all your content. In reality, and this sucks to say, Facebook could also probably brick our units and give us the sue us and bring it on treatment or go pound sand treatment, and not sure many of us can fight those deep pockets. Also, it is worth noting that while speculation, if you do not root this correctly, it is likely that any reporting from the headset back to Facebook will give you away, and additionally, there could be possible fail conditions of the headset that if Facebook has detection set, well, say bye-bye to your account. But who should root? Here is who I think should be the majority of users who actually root their Oculus Quest as soon as this method goes live. If you only use SideQuest, have no intention of using the Oculus Store, and plan to know how to take ownership of your Oculus Quest, then I guess why not, and it could be a mix or match of any of those three, not everything. Your risks are low, and immediately there's not really any consequences for rooting, you know what you're doing. Those are really the only people and the only cases that I would advise to do it right now, and I mean in the sense as soon as this possibly goes live. Which kind of leads us to everyone else. Just wait a little bit on this. The use cases for most consumers are limited, and there is nowhere near enough information to know how this will play out and what Facebook may try to curb it. In addition, if you have already, and I repeat, already linked your Facebook account to your Oculus Quest, this is probably the riskiest move to root it right when this goes live. Overall, this is me going full dad mode, getting ready for being more responsible and not my normal degenerate self, and advocating while we all wish that Facebook and Oculus would have kept this separate, just because that may be a possibility with the root does not mean you should absolutely do it right away. Hype trains are real, and no matter who we are, it can have an effect on our choices. And whether this came off preachy, whiny, or whatever, I really don't care. I've seen nothing but this root is amazing and more info is needed before you jump into this. I feel better if at least anyone hears this out so you can make a better and more informed decision. I appreciate everyone sticking through this info dump. I have seen a lot of comments, a lot of videos about this root, and everyone seems to have the same opinion that it's an amazing opportunity to own our hardware, and I completely agree about that. But at the same time, I don't see anyone advocating for the pros and cons of it, and there's going to be a lot of people who get bullied or get overly fed info that this is the right thing to do, and I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of bricked headsets, and I want to stay away from that. So thanks for indulging this rant. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon, that way you never miss an upload, and as always, see you next time, Space Cowboys.